Welcome to the Miracles and Wellness Podcast. My name is Clarissa Booker, and I'm your life and wellness coach, and also a beauty expert. I am so happy and grateful that you are here. We'll be discussing all things health and wellness, feeling empowered, and loving yourself more, while connecting your mind, body, and spirit. Always know that you can manifest whatever you desire for your greater well-being in your life, because I believe that miracles are for everyone.
Hey there, friends. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Today we're going to talk a little bit about inflammation, because inflammation affects so much, just about every function of our body, our gut health, allergies, just all the things, our weight, you name it. A lot of times inflammation has something to do with it. And not all inflammation is bad or anything like that. So there is, for one, acute inflammation, which helps us. It's like a short-term inflammatory process where it helps repair something when it's damaged. Like when you get a cut on your finger, it'll help control the bleeding and from preventing you getting an infection. And that's okay. Some issues come into play when we develop chronic inflammation. Then that's when diseases start taking over. Or something as simple as like asthma. I mean, there's just so many things that it affects, and then the weight gain. Just like all the things. I mean, inflammation can also interfere with a hormone, leptin, and that tells your brain when you've had enough to eat. So everything is connected. So if your brain doesn't receive that signal, you can wind up eating more than you need to. There was also a study done where there were levels of the key inflammatory marker in the blood known as CRP, which is C-reactive protein, increased your weight. And it also can make you more susceptible to blood clots as well. Inflammation can also contribute to heart disease and high blood pressure. And hypertension is caused by the dysfunction of those cells that line the walls of your arteries. And they're so important in regulating your blood pressure, right? And when these are messed up, when there's dysfunction of them, these cells, it leads to the inflammation, which then oxidative damage and potentially heart attacks and strokes, which we definitely don't want, all right? And then also back to the CRP, which also plays a large role in the disease. The higher the levels, the less nitric oxide there is to help you dilate your arteries so we can get your blood flowing. And by the way, you can get the same benefits from anti-inflammatory drugs like statins just by, switching up your diet. Also, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease caused by inflammation. Well, and also that's when you're eating a lot of sugar, high processed sugar, processed foods as well, arthritis, inflammation of your bones and your joints, autoimmune conditions, rheumatoid arthritis. I mean, there's just so much that it affects. I mean, even if you try to take drugs to help alleviate acute inflammation and to help alleviate symptoms of chronic inflammation, it does not fully resolve everything, right? So basically, it's like you're still inflamed. You're just contributing to what's going on, like whatever damage is going on in your body, instead of actually getting to the root cause of it. So a lot of times people are taking medication and they just might feel okay for the moment, and you're all happy and you're like, yes, I can live my life again. And then something happens on a couple months later. Something happens on next year. And then you're like, what's wrong? And it's because nothing was actually addressed, right? You just sat there and you just covered everything up so you could feel better now. That the now thing is for being mindful and present, but not when it comes to taking care of your body. You have to do the work to take care of whatever's going on. I mean, it's like if you have put on weight over 5 years, why is somebody going to think that you're going to lose the weight in 2 weeks? No, we have to be compassionate with ourselves, but also honest. So that's just not going to happen. You have to do the work to do whatever that goal is, whatever you're trying to manifest. With manifestation, you have to do the work. You can give it to God, but you have to be like, God, show me what to do. Give me the wisdom to figure out what that steps is. And so with our body and our health, it's the same exact way. Sometimes you do need medication depending on what's going on. But a lot of times these diseases are lifestyle diseases. And we just need to take the moment, take the time just to work on ourselves and give ourselves that much needed love that we need, right? To do that. Okay, and also there's leaky gut. right? If you hear about leaky gut so much now, you hear words leaky gut, microbiome, just all the things, right? And so leaky gut also contributes to inflammation, right? So when you have that, it's this condition where there's these connections between the cells that line your intestinal walls, where they're like little tight junctions, and they become loose. And when they become looser, they winds up allowing larger particles like food and everything to pass through your gut wall, where initially it's supposed to be there to protect it. But since they're getting loose and there's all this space there, more substances and things are getting in that it should not. And 70% of your immune system lives there, okay? So as particles and food are passing through, your immune system is coming in contact with it. And so it's trying to help you out. So it starts attacking it, which then ramps up your inflammation. And with chronic inflammation, you don't always see it, right? But you will have symptoms, right? You might have like a puffy face, like swollen fingers. You ever see or have you experienced like maybe like you have a ring stuck on your finger and you can't get it off? Your joints might be stiff. It's harder for you to get up. Muscles super sore. You feel pain. If you're hot, you have that high blood pressure. Your weight's increasing. Then you have gut issues, the fatigue, depression, allergies and asthma, headaches. A lot of this has to do with inflammation. And then there's food, right? Because we know there's always food involved, right? There's so many foods also that contribute to inflammation, right? So to reduce chronic inflammation that contributes to nearly a lot of diseases, we want to dramatically lower our intake of inflammatory foods, okay? So it's so much easier, right? It seems more simple to switch our foods out versus taking medication. I mean, we can talk about some foods that do increase inflammation. Infamous sugar. That's the culprit behind so many things. So that's going to trigger the release of insulin, and it's going to start damaging your cells. And it puts toxic burden on your liver and your pancreas. And then it triggers inflammation and inducing obesity, right? There goes that weight gain. Also, those trans fats, which they do take out of quite a bit of food now, but you always have to read your labels because you always know that sometimes there's something lurking in there. And then also sometimes on the front of a box, if you're buying something out of a box and you're not eating that whole food for whatever reason this particular day, sometimes it'd be like, no sugar. But then if you look on the label, they replace that with something else that you don't really need. It'll be like excessive sodium. There's all this fat in there, saturated fat, so you just want to be mindful of that and try to look at your labels always. Because a lot of times, they'll try to trick you up to try to get you to buy it. They'll be like, okay, well, this will work. There's no sugar, but then there's something else in there. And those trans fats have been known to raise your LDLs, which is the bad cholesterol, right? So we want to watch that because that's going to contribute to heart issues. There's dairy, gluten, wheat, which, there's lots of gluten-free food now that you can get. And even when you go into restaurants, a lot of times they'll mark on the menu if something is like gluten-free in it just to help you out. And some people, nightshades affect them. So even though they're like a vegetable, you just want to kind of see how it fits you, because everything is different for everyone. Like just because something is deemed, quote, healthy doesn't mean it might work for you. So like some people have a hard time eating tomatoes or eggplant. And if that is okay, then it's okay. But if it's not, then you don't eat it. Okay. So it just depends. And it's not an issue for everybody, but it is for some. Also dairy, soy products, which soy is always something, there's always a study on soy. Some say good, some say not good. Corn, there's just so many things. So just being aware or doing like an elimination kind of diet where you just kind of remove foods and go down to the basics and just add something in one at a time, just so you can see where you're at with that. And then you notice that if you start feeling a certain way, then that's something that you shouldn't eat. All right, that's a good way to go about something if you're trying to kind of stuck and you're trying to figure out what to do. And you can try replacing some of those other foods with some foods that are more known to fight inflammation, like wild salmon. If you eat animal products, there's salmon. If you're eating meat, making sure it's grass-fed. Adding some flax seeds, some chia seeds, could throw that in a smoothie or green drink there. You can have some cabbage and some spinach. I absolutely love cabbage and spinach. Berries, like some strawberries, some avocado, which I'm always down for some avocado toast. Just leafy and cruciferous vegetables. And just, bone broth is really good for your gut. So having some bone broth in there, some ginger. Who doesn't like a little ginger added in their food? Just slice that off. You're good to go. And just trying to make your food as organic and non-GMO as much as possible. Focus on healthy fats. You can eat fats. You can eat healthy fats. Nuts and seeds, the high fiber, low glycemic carbs. Carbs are good. It's just on the quality of it. Those non-starchy vegetables. And if you can use protein powder, hyperallergenic protein powders. If you're eating the animal products, making sure they're lean, hormone-free, pasture-raised. And if you have like your plate, I always suggest 70-75% being plant-based. And then the rest of it could be like healthy fats and like animal protein if that's what you choose, okay? The more plants on our plate, the better. Our body thrives off of it. And then it's always the other lifestyle factors that goes with it. Exercising and moving our body is always going to be good for us, just as long as you don't take it excessively. Anything in excess is not good, okay? So our daily exercising time, you can do less than an hour. You don't have to go work out for 2 to 3 hours. You do not have to do that, okay? Don't compare yourself to somebody else. If your best friend or somebody on social media is working out like 3 hours a day, and that's not your jam, then you do not do that. You do what you can, right? If you want to do 30 minutes, want to do 45 minutes, you do that. It's goodness for you. You don't have to compare yourself to anybody else. Adding some yoga in, increasing your water intake, just getting outside and getting some sun, always good for us. You could take a walk outside, exercise outside, journaling, meditating, reading. All these things are good for inflammation. It's good for stress. Everything is linked together. Our body is so amazing. Guys, it can just heal itself the majority of the time if we just take care of it. You take care of it and it takes care of you. Look, don't you take care of your children and they give you all this love back? It's good. Our body does the same thing. We just have to feed it what it needs. We have to love it. Love our body so much. Feed it nutrients. Get that sleep that you want, right? Just go do the things, right? And sleep always helps. Good sleep hygiene, always a win, right? Get to 7-8 hours of sleep in. That, try your best to get quality sleep, uninterrupted sleep. If you get 7 to 8, then, it'll be good for you. It helps restore you. You wake up refreshed. And then the rest of your day moves a lot smoother if you're getting 7 to 8 hours in. Sometimes I just like to say 7 because sometimes it's so hard for people to even get that amount in. But if you can get more, great. You don't have to sleep the whole day unless you're on vacation or something like that, but just try to get that sleep in. Your body will thank you. Because look, there's so much research out there that shows that 90% of chronic disease stems from non-genetic factors, guys. It's our lifestyle. So you can say that auntie and grandma and grandpa, etc., has all these conditions, but a lot of times it's because people have the same habits, right? So if you need to be the change in your family, then you do that, no matter what they say or how they look, because people want to be in like a community, right? So everybody wants to be alike. But if you need to be the person that starts that change for your family, then you do that, okay? Because the majority of the time, it's lifestyle. All right, guys, I hope this helped. It's like an introduction to like inflammation. Please let me know any questions you have. And come on over to the group on Facebook. It's a wellness community. Come on over to ask questions. I'll go live sometimes. And let me know any questions that you have. And I will love if you leave a written review. It helps out so much, okay? Until next time.
Did you like my mommy show? Leave a review. Bye, guys.
Thank you so much for coming by. And don't forget to subscribe and leave a written review. Until next time, love and light.